Wonderful. All right. Welcome everybody to our general weekly group. I'm Wendy Myers, one of the senior clinical managers. And tonight we have a wonderful special guest. Felicia, how do you pronounce your last name? Mycyk?
I was close. Mycyk.
Mycyk, I was close. Felicia Mycyk, and she is a coach. She's a workshop facilitator and speaker, award-winning community advocate, entrepreneur, marketing consultant, community journalist, sports coach, cancer survivor, and mother of 4. Oh my gosh, that's the hardest of all, right? Shares personal stories of overcoming internal and external struggles, drawing on those experiences to inspire others to persevere through their own challenges and on their own journey to success. She utilizes fundamental sports coaching techniques to help individuals, young people, entrepreneurs, and corporate teams reach an unprecedented level of self-leadership, empowering them to lead themselves and lead others. Her passion is to help others discover their full potential and amplify the leader within them. And so, her and I were talking about kind of my 7 pillars of wellness and how do you, find energy and purpose and meaning in life. And so I think this should be a really amazing. So with that being said, go ahead, Felicia, take it away. Welcome.
Well, hello, everybody. Nice to see you online. Nice to read your names. I would be very curious where everybody's coming from. So if you don't mind throwing stuff in the chat for me right now, just let me know like what part of town you're from. If you're not even in town, like what state you're from, I would love to know those things. Just throw it in the chat. It'd be awesome to see that. I am a mom of 4. I'm also a grandma of 2, and a wife to 1. So that right there is the hardest job of them all. So good. Okay. Good seeing you guys. Good. Also coming from Wexford, Greensburg, Fox Chapel. Karen from Cranberry, the mother of 1. Love it. Brand new homeowners in Butler on Grove City. All right. And question, I need to know right now, when you guys think of McCandless, okay, Mary Beth, I live in North Hills, McCandless, all right. When you guys think of energy, I want you to put in the chat right now one, and this is interactive, so I want you to be with me. I want you to type. I want you to stay with me, okay? I want you to type in there, when you think of energy, what does that mean to you? Movement, no energy. Active. So no energy, active. Readiness. Okay, that's a new one. Readiness. What gets me going and going every day? Is that Heather? Zip. I'm not Mary Beth. Give me more about zip. When you think of energy, is like I think of a dog zipping away. Is that what you're saying, Mary Beth? So I'm gonna give you a quick little.
Just
go ahead.
Be zippier, have more energy.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for clarifying that. So quick little story on myself. I am not even a year out from having cancer. I got diagnosed, and I just like probably a lot of you guys or people that you're close with, you get a call from your doctor and they say those phrases. They don't say cancer, they say inductional carcinoma or whatever it is. And I'm just like, and all of a sudden my entire life just, and I listened and I was like, okay, there's 4 different types of listening. There's that appreciative listening where you just sit there and you just listen to sounds and you're enjoying it. There's that critical listening that doctor called and I was listening just for the facts, all I needed to know that. And then there's relationship listening and discriminative listening. But the 2 that I'm talking about right now is appreciative listening. When I was listening, Not appreciative listening wasn't it. It was critical listening is what was the key thing for me. I was listening to only what I needed to hear was, do I have cancer? And as soon as I got that word, I Googled exactly what they said. I needed to know everything. And immediately my mind just stopped. Couldn't understand what my next step was. I couldn't fathom my future. I couldn't see what my future was going to be because I never had cancer before. I didn't know what that meant to me. I just knew that what the world has said, it may be a death sentence. That's all I knew. So I kept looking at everything in the world. I started Googling everything. And emotionally, I just got to a place where I thought prior to this moment, I thought for sure that I knew what anxiety was. I knew what anxiety was. I knew what depression was. That's what I told myself until I got that diagnosis. Until I started going through everything and I started feeling, I stopped breathing. I'm sitting at my desk and I'm like, I can't breathe. I started getting to a point that my mind was telling me that, okay, I've been sad before, but never depressed. I got in such dark places, and I'm a very energetic and active person. I was out there, I was coaching sports, I'm doing business, I'm doing everything. But then I got the diagnosis. So, and then I started Googling everything, and then everything just got worse and worse and worse. I did not keep promises to myself. I told myself I'm not going to Google. I'm not going to do any of those things. But guess what I did? Google. That's the worst thing to do. And then I was like, you know what? I have all this dark skin. Let me see what Black women goes through. That would have been my second mistake, because guess what? The internet tells you, yeah, you're going to die quicker than everyone else. So I just really got to a point that I couldn't handle it. So I didn't tell anybody that I had cancer. I told maybe 2 people. And I got to that point. I did that purposely because I didn't understand what was happening to me. I didn't understand I knew what anxious was, but I didn't know what anxiety was. I knew I had cancer, but I didn't know really what cancer meant. I knew this was sadness, but I didn't know what depression was. All these things were happening to me, and I needed to be in control somehow. I needed to pull everything together and be able to say, I understand what my plan is. I understand what's going to happen next. I know a lot of people already have a story to tell, and I know we only have like an hour, and I don't want to focus on what happened with me. I want you to take something from me. With all of that information that I learned, I immediately had to figure out what to do next. I didn't like who I was, and I sat and I created a process that I do with everything else. I call it my DECIDE method. And I discovered it's the letters, the acronym is DECIDE, DECIDE, right? First thing I did was D. You can write it down if you like. D, I discovered what was going on with me. That was one of the biggest things I should have done was Google, but I discovered what was happening with my life. And I started researching everything. Then I embraced what was going to happen to me. I'm going to have to go sit in a chemo chair, get a port, and I'm going to have this medicine pumping through me to save me. And I used to tell people I'm getting poison pumped into me to kill one thing so I can be saved. But I embraced what was going on with me. See, then I had to condition. And when I'm a sports coach, right? So when I think about conditioning, I think about, okay, what do I have to do to get ready for whatever's coming up for me? If it's football, guess what you do? You go out there and you work out to get to a point that you can go ahead and tackle people, or you can go ahead and run plays. If you're training for a marathon, you condition, you go out and you practice, you get to do all those things. But what does that mean when it comes down to cancer? How do you condition for that? So one of the things I ended up doing was preparing my house, my home, my life for it. I knew like within 2 weeks I was going to have to be at the doctor's office. I knew I needed to get ready for it. Once I learned that, okay, you're going to have treatments, there's a possibility you're going to be tired, all these other things I needed to write down. I looked at my month calendar. I started looking at, hey, okay, this is what I have to do for the first 3 weeks of my life. Or after I have my treatments, I'm down for 3 weeks. And then I have 4 days to see what I can do in those 4 days. Every person's different. I just know that's what I did. I looked at my calendar. I looked at it from a bird's eye view. This is what I have to do. Then I got down to the street level and I started looking at, okay, on these days I can do this, on this day I can do that. The next thing after that, I started to include certain people into my journey, including people, meaning like, okay, who is going to be able to help me with rides? Who's going to be able to help me with rides? Who's going to be able to help me with food? I started thinking of those practical things, right? Then the next portion is D. I had to be determined. I became determined to live. I started thinking, okay, how do I keep my determination and make it through this? So I started giving myself motivational talk. I started reading quotes. I started looking for anything that I knew made me feel positive. And then the last letter is E, embrace or evolve. After I started thinking about, okay, if I do beat this, what's going to be next for me? That was a hard part. So the word is decide, and I'm not going to go in more detail with that because really what I want to talk to you about is energy. But that was my game plan. I used my acronym DECIDE. I said that I discovered what was going on with me. I did the research. I embraced what was going to go on with me. I conditioned was the main thing. I had to put my calendar together. Then I started including certain people in my life. And then I decided, how do I be determined? Who do I want to be involved with me? And then I had to evolve to my next, what's going to happen next? What's going to happen when I'm done? The thing I didn't realize, recovery is the next thing after cancer. How do you recover? I never told myself there's a recovery process. And I had to learn that I had to be patient. But now what I really want to do is talk about, just because I have a plan doesn't mean I can execute it. And this is where energy comes in. This is where I want you guys to really listen up. Because I can sit here and write down everything. I can sit here and fathom, okay, look, I'm going to be able to sleep on 5 days, and then I'm going to get up and do this. I'm going to do this. I have so many things. I'm going to visit these people. I'm going to call these people. I can say it. But unless I truly take a personal audit of really what's going on with me, what is my personal audit? When I think about my physical energy, when I think about my mental energy, my emotional energy, my spiritual energy. There are 4 different types of energy that you have. And I would like to do this with you guys together. Again, I'm working on the time frame. So are you okay if we go over just a little bit, Wendy? Because I feel like I'm rushing a little bit. I do apologize to everyone.
No, you're good. Absolutely, for sure.
Guys, if you have to drop off, I understand, but I'd rather not rush, if that's okay.
Yep, no,
Give me
you're
a moment or two.
You're good.
All right, good deal. All right, so okay, let's get into it. All right, so I see what you guys wrote down about energy. What do you think I mean by a personal audit? Anybody want to unmute and share, or go ahead and type? Personal audit.
I guess what you have to look at is who you were before the diagnosis.
Right.
And where you're going now once you have the diagnosis and are in the process of being treated.
I like that. Who you were before and where you're going. So I think I like that. I like that because I think if you start with that's you embracing. That's when I think of the decide process, I think about the E part, the E letter is embracing who I was and who I'm letting go. And when I think of a personal audit, I think you have to really take time out and look at everything. This is who I am right now today. So with all of you, I need you to take a second out and just think about who you are today. And I hope you have a piece of paper in front of you because I want you to write some stuff down as we go forward.
But also you have to be able to grieve that lost self, the self that you lost.
Mm-hmm. For right now, for this purpose, with what we're doing right now, I want you just to think about who you are today. Because I think you're absolutely right. You have to start thinking who you're going to let go. Because for you to move forward with this process, you have to realize, and if you take anything away from me today, is who you're going to be and who you used to be. It can't happen at the same time. You can't be who you're going to be. And you have to realize cancer does change you.
Right.
So you have to say, okay, who am I going to be after this? So, but we can't even get there until we know who we are right now. Who are we right now? And we're going to do an audit of who we are right now. So picture a battery in front of you, all right? I want you to write down the word physical. Write down the word physical. I'm going to write it down. Physical, right? That's PHYSICAL. Of course, some of my people who are like me, I can't spell without the Google. It used to be dictionary or my mom, but now it's Google. So physical, okay. So now if you had a battery right there, right in front of you, a battery, how full would that battery be today? And I want you to write down today. Today is July 19th, it's 6:30. How full is your body physically? Or your battery right now physically? And then when we think about physical energy, what is physical energy? Anybody put it in the chat? Tell me, what do you think physical energy is?
It's how I can function every day. It's part of my functioning,
Your function.
physical energy, getting through the day, doing my chores and my tasks.
Mhm.
And
So how about we say physical energy for this call is physical energy is about you. It's very simple. It's exactly what it is. It's you moving.
yeah,
What is physical energy today? How are you able to move? Think about actually movement.
oh,
Right there,
I'm good with
everybody
that.
put, what was that?
I'm good with that.
Yes.
I'm good
Everybody
with
put,
that.
yeah, everybody put in the chat, and I'm gonna see if I can share. I think I can share my screen. Everybody put in the chat was all physical things. No one talked about mental. It's physical. It's literally, can I get up? Can I zip? Can I go? Can I pick up? And that's just one piece of energy. And I think that's what I had to do to be able to move on. Like I needed to coach tackle football. I need to be able to coach track and field. I needed to be able to go and actually see my kids and actually put some energy into my husband. But physically, could I get out of bed? No, I became one with my mattress. Like literally, me and my mattress like this. It was like my best friend. I gave it a name. Like you need it, but that was the physical energy. So today, I want you to write down, this is your personal audit. What is your physical energy? And I'm going to try to share my screen. All right. So now the next thing I want us to do is I want you to think of the next thing I want you to write down is mental, MENTAL, mental energy. What is that? Anybody want to tell me what they believe mental energy is? You can write it or you can say it.
Well, it's communication. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to express yourself. You have to be able to problem solve and think about your next move.
There, that's it. The end of that was what I want you to say. It's mental energy is more to that cognitive work. That's when you're sitting there thinking about, okay, you're making decisions, you're problem solving.
That's right.
Am I
safe right now? Am I safe right now? Whatever I'm doing, am I safe right now?
I wouldn't go with am I safe? Because that may mean something different to someone else. But if you're thinking right now, do you have the ability and willing to make decisions?
Yes.
And that's what I want you to write down with where you are today, with your mental energy. Physical energy is that, you're moving things. Can you get up? Can you walk? But mental energy is different.
Yeah.
Okay, so next thing I want you to think about is, I was hoping to share my screen, but it's not letting me do it. Next thing I want you to think about is emotional energy. What is emotional energy? Anyone?
It's how I treat myself, how I treat others that are around me.
So I like that. I have another one is where your thoughts, feelings, emotions are. Where you're and what you're doing about them. Okay, I like that. Anyone else with emotional energy?
It's how you're feeling.
Yep.
You know, what are you processing in your mind? How are you feeling? Are you happy? Are you sad? Are you confused? Are you depressed? You know, how are you feeling?
How are you feeling? Emotional feeling. How is your feeling towards work? How's your feeling towards your family? How are you feeling towards yourself? It's that emotional, it's your thoughts, the ability to cope. Okay, Colleen, I like that. That's a whole different one. So now write down emotional energy and tell me where you're at with that. Okay, the last one I want to do is spiritual. What do you think spiritual energy is? You can say it or write it down.
It's having faith.
Faith. Anyone else?
It's having trust.
I like
You
faith.
know, none of
What do
us
you mean
really
by
can.
trust?
It's a confidence that gives you trust that you're going to make it through this process, this journey, because a lot of it we don't have control, right?
Yeah.
I'm trusting that the plan is going to work. I'm trusting the radiation, the chemo, the surgery, got it all. You've got to
You're
have
right.
a trust. So it's
I agree with you, Heather.
it's a
So I like Pat said Pat said large scale connection. I like that as well. And I think all of you have said it in a way that that I like. But the biggest thing I want to say is a deeper meaning of life.
Well, in a way, go back to your battery analogy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the spiritual energy is what keeps that battery charged.
I like what you're going. Okay, I like it. I'm with it. But that's also the thing I want you to start thinking about. So those are the 4 types of energy that we're talking about today, right? So you took an audit of yourself today. And you have to be truthful and honest with yourself. This is who I am today. And I want you to date it today, and I want you to look at it. And then, and maybe an hour, guess what will happen in our lives? That will change in 1 hour. Every one of those. Sometimes it changes within the next minute. And I know when I went through all this, I kept telling myself minute by minute. And then I got to a point moment by moment. Then I got from the moment to moment, I went to day by day, then week by week. And then I got bumped back down to day by day. And I used to, okay, no problem. I'm going to start back over. All right. And then my weeks got better. Then I went from weeks to months. I was like, okay, let's go month by month. And then all of a sudden, knocked right back down. However, throughout all this, I kept telling myself, okay, look, I have to be patient. I have to keep promises to myself. The moment I stop looking and understanding my energies is a moment that I let all my defenses down. If I keep I'm a football girl, and I apologize to anybody who doesn't like sports. I'll do my best to be well with it. But the thing is, if I get onto the field and I go and play an opponent and I decide to lay down, I am letting them win. Why did I even go onto the field? So I have to keep my mind completely straight. Like I have to get onto that field and I have to sit here and put my defenses up at all time. I have to be ready. I have to understand what's happening when somebody's coming at me, what's coming at my way. So I have to understand, look, one of my defenses, if I'm physically down, and that's the lowest battery I have, my mental, emotional, and my spiritual energy got to be up.
Mhm.
Yes,
If I'm mentally down, but physically I can move,
Mhm.
can I keep going?
Mhm.
Can I make it to this doctor's appointment? Mentally and emotionally, I'm out. But
Yes.
spiritually and physically, I can make it to my appointment.
yes,
I don't want to be here. And I don't know how many times I will walk in there and they'll be like, hi. And I'm just looking at them like, I have no desire to be there. I know it's there, it's there to help me, but I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear, I'll see you next time. I don't want to hear that any of those things. So mentally, I wasn't ready. I wasn't problem solving. Emotionally, I was done. But physically, I could make it there. And the one thing I never let go of me was my deeper connection, my trust, my coping through all this,
yes.
my spiritual portion of my
It's
energy. I made it.
spiritual energy.
Yes, the spiritual energy. So
Yes.
now the next thing we have to do is like, okay, now we understand there's 4 different types of energies. Now we have to understand we have a full team on the field. We are ready to take on everybody that's coming at us, right? We have a full team. We decided we are going to conquer cancer and we are going to survive. We are warriors right now and we are on the battlefield, right?
Yes,
You know, we have 4 key people or 4 energies that are going to sit there and take us to that next level, right?
yes,
Now we have to understand when our physical energy is down and when it's depleted, how are we renewing it? So I want you guys to take time out right now. And I want you to think about, and I'm going to try something. I am going to try something. We're going to see if we can do it.
You should be able to share, Felicia, because I did make it like that if you want to.
You did? Okay, great. Can you try to put them in groups? If not, we'll just stay together.
Yeah, I
But
don't,
I would like everybody to talk together, put us in different groups, and I want 2 to 3 renewal strategies when your physical energy depletes. And I want you to say, okay, my physical energy depletes when I have this. Are you able to do groups?
I am not, because it's not set up that way. The Zooms are set up
Okay.
in the calendar, so I apologize, can't do that ahead of
No
time.
problem. Then we'll do it together here. Okay, so everybody, we are one big, large group and we need to work together. So
Okay.
physical energy, I need everybody to give me, write in the chat, give me your depletion. Tell me how your physical energy depletes. Write it in the chat. And if you don't want to write it in the chat, put it on your own notebook next to physical energy. My energy depletes when my spouse doesn't understand that I'm hurting right now. My physical energy depletes when I actually have, 5 hours after chemotherapy, or one as soon as I'm done with my chemo. I want you to write down what depletes your energy.
well,
Sleep. Oh, girl, man, sleep deprivation. I remember the first day I got 6 hours straight of sleep. It was the best moment of my life. I have never tweeted about 6 hours of sleep in my life, but I tweeted, I put it on Facebook, I did a TikTok, I called my family, and I texted everybody that I slept 6 hours straight. I was so proud of myself.
that's good.
Yeah.
It's good because I don't have that luxury.
Yes. When I don't get enough sleep and I don't get a good workout in, my meds zap my physical energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So now what I want you to do after this, now I want everybody to think of how do we renew that energy? How are you able to renew the energy? As cancer patients, warriors, give me some, overextend yourself. That's a good one. All right. Say no. I like that. Any other ways to renew the physical energy? Overextend myself. Walking outside. That's a good one, Pat.
Yes,
Sleep, workout, drink water,
yes.
nourishing
I
food,
pray.
pray.
I pray.
We got some more coming in. Make myself walk as yesterday in a garden. Okay.
Okay, that's a good one.
Yes. I like,
meditate.
I do that.
These are the things we have to, and remember what I said, when physical energy is down, I want you to write down, you wrote down next to physical energy, hey, my energy's down. What depletes it? I know what depletes it. What are my renewal strategies? I love it. Meditate. What else we have? Ask others for help. That is hard for some people, but I love that you wrote that down. Okay, so now now we're gonna go to emotional energy. What depletes your emotional energy? Remember we said what emotional energy is. It's how we feel about what's going on in our lives. We already figured out, okay, we have the diagnosis. We've already accepted. We went through the whole decide process, okay? We embrace the fact that we have it. How are we feeling about it? What are we embracing about ourselves right now? We have it. Or maybe just from today. From today, where you're at on your audit right now with your emotional energy. And feel free to unmute yourself and share anything out loud too. I'm trying to look in the chat. Okay. Music, bad news, bad people, bad test results. Okay, so these are the things that are depleting you. Bad news, bad people, bad test results, discouraged with setbacks, therapists. That might, well, I'm thinking therapist is a renewal. Or is the therapist is what? Okay, great. So emotionally, bad news. Emotionally, say a nurse didn't take care of you or a family member didn't take care of you. All those things, bad tests. Say you just weren't in the right mindset when you went somewhere. These are all things and setbacks. I remember the amount of, I couldn't handle Taxol. And I remember getting all these steroids. I remember now I coach sports, so I would be determined to get this to my track team, and my face was so very large. So, but but that was a setback. At the same time, I knew that I was moving forward. I would love to hear from you guys. What are some of the renewal things you can do when emotionally you get a setback? Emotionally, when you get bad news. I saw therapy. What do you do? And please share these out loud with all of us and write them, because it will help you move forward. On my end, I had a setback. I went to track practice to coach the kids, even with my face the size of a watermelon. I had, as soon as those kids said, "Coach, I need help with this," guess what it did? It snapped me out of it and made me present in the moment. I was able to keep my mind focused on what was in front of me, because everything around me that I had no control over emotionally made me feel that I couldn't move forward. But when someone was able to snap my mind back into just being present, that was a big deal. So let's see what's in the chat. Anybody? I have a therapist, and then we have read books that provide inspiration. Anyone else? What do you do when you emotionally get set back?
I call a friend.
Very good. Call a friend, spend time in nature.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing on my end when I was exhausted emotionally from everything. One of the things I did when I went through my whole decide process was I had to figure out who to include. And when I started including people, I built my team around me. So remind you, when I have to get onto that field to take on my opponent, which was cancer, I needed to figure out who was on my team, who are the right players. So calling a friend, you need to make sure that you have built a whole team around you. Calling someone is great. I love, again, pray, spending time in nature, whatever it is that will help you get that emotional energy back. The biggest thing I want to say is be mindful. Get whatever's going on with you, find something that will snap you in and get you focused on what's right in front of you. Being mindful is one of the key things, I believe, in the emotional portion of it. But reaching out to your social network for support, getting enough sleep at night, relaxation techniques, focusing on the present and focusing on gratitude are the key things with emotional energy. All right, let's go to the next one. And I believe it's mental, right? Let's go to mental. Mental, what is some depletions for mental energy? And please write them in the chat or write them on your paper.
I almost hate to admit it, but what depletes my mental energy very much is getting on Google and researching what I have and what's going on. And that just blows it out for me. And then I'm mentally exhausted. I don't know if that pertains to this, but that's mentally,
That's exactly.
Yeah.
Do you ever think about it when you wake up in the morning? And I tell my kids this all the time, don't pick up your phone and start going through everything on your phone.
It's very dangerous, but sometimes I just can't stay away.
Right? You get on your phone, you start reading all this stuff. That energy, that mental energy.
And I know this, it sets my head for the day.
Yes.
I really have to get my head out, and sometimes I just can't, and that's hard.
Joy, I'm so glad you said that. That was perfect.
Yeah.
Research, I told you, I Googled like crazy. It put me in a depression. It made me so anxious. I am a Black woman. I swear to goodness, Google Black women with breast cancer. And it'd be like, you're dying first. That's all I saw. Like, you're first to die.
Yeah.
And then when I researched it, I was like, when I got deeper into it, it was like, wait a second. Because people don't go get checked. Like, come on now. I thought it was some genetic thing. But yeah, cutting off friends who refuse not to respect your boundaries. Okay. That would probably be a renewal strategy on that end. But let's see, what else is isolation? So isolation, who said that? Karen, I love that.
I have a permanently compromised immune system. Mm-hmm. And I've had my leukemia for 32 years and osteosarcoma for 9 months. Mm. And, after being confined during the pandemic, not being able to go out when the weather was nice and it wasn't cold and flu season, and now back to being confined and not being allowed to have friends, and that is very difficult.
I believe that is definitely something that will affect you physically, emotionally, and mentally. I don't think that even is just here, and I'm glad that you brought it up with mental. Can you share some of your renewal strategies and how you're able to build back up your mental energy?
What I did was I set goals on places I wanted to go, like on certain dates. I've had 4 weddings this year.
Get it.
So I've set goals. Long story short, I've been using a walker for 9 months too. I'd at least like to be up to a cane when my goddaughter gets married at the end of August. I don't know if I'll get there, but I think it's always good to set a goal to work towards. And maybe if I don't reach that goal, I set a new goal. Instead of contemplating what wasn't, I look forward to what will be. I've been dealing with this for so many years.
Can you give yourself when it comes down to mental energy? And it needs to be small. It does not need to be great and grand, because then you may set yourself up for major disappointment. We want to build ourselves up. So set small goals. Okay, do we have anything else in the chat? Cutting off friends who refuse to not respect your boundaries. Anybody want to talk more on that? On how that helps you with your mental energy? Okay, so I'll go on it. I remember hearing people say, "Oh, you have cancer, it's fine." You know how the strides, they did so many strides to hear cancer nowadays, you can take it as a pill. Like it would be very dismissive type language to me from people. And I'm saying, like, no one knows what I'm going through. And then I would hear friends say these things to me. And it would get me to a point that was more of an emotional thing, that I would sit here and I'm like, okay, I feel like everybody's dismissing it and saying, okay, you're a strong person, so you'll make it through. I don't know how strong I am. I've never been through this before. How do you know I'm going to make it through? And I needed to get to a point that I had to, again, be in control of what was going on. So sometimes just removing people from my life for the time being was healthy for me, because you need to get to where you're going. And if somebody's going to keep you in the past, they're not helping you move to where you're going. There might be, they think they're saying encouraging words to you, but you have to be able to define what's encouraging to you. And if somebody's disrespecting you, you have to be very comfortable and strong within that and say, okay, enough is enough. I need to be able to move on. So I love that you put that in there. Let's go with spiritual now. Spiritual, what are the depletions in spiritual energy? Depletion with spiritual energy. Anger at God. Anyone else have another one? And I'm reading the comments if anyone doesn't know. They're angry.
I think you can lose hope
Yeah.
when you get back to back, bad news keeps stacking on top of one another. You can lose hope, and then you start to question your spiritual energy.
I love that, Heather. Hopelessness, right, Pat? Heather, I agree with you. Like, if things to keep getting stacked, it's in your lymph nodes. I wasn't ready for that. You have the gene. I'm not ready for that. You can't take any more time off at work. I wasn't ready for that. All these things keep stacking and stacking and stacking. It's like, why? They say you can't, God's not going to give you more than what you can handle. Well, how strong am I? Like, I did not know I was that strong. Come on now. But, it could be I don't know if you're in the chakras. I don't know what spiritual energy you need to have. Or you whether you pray, whether it's chakras, whatever you're doing energy wise. My whole thing is, it is difficult, and admitting that it is difficult, and admitting that, hey, this is what depletes me when I don't understand, when I feel hopeless. So how do I renew that? Can anybody share how they renew that? How did they renew it? How have you renewed it? How are you renewing it?
I renew it through prayer.
Perfect.
I call on those that I was close to who have departed.
Anyone else? Thank you, Jerry.
Cancer. And I call on them for strength to help me heal.
I think you have to have a conversation with yourself.
Yeah.
Right? You gotta, sometimes in this journey, we've all got to be our own coach and motivator. And so when you start to go down that path of losing hope, you've got to say, hold on, time out. We've got to really work at it ourselves.
That's right, Heather.
Have a self-talk.
I agree.
Heather, I love the fact that you said time out. I think you're starting to get me. That's a coach's term. Just let me know. But time out. Seriously, this is, in my acronym DECIDE, D is determined. And you really have to take time to really be determined. And what is that? how do you be determined? Taking time out and really looking yourself like, okay, look, this, I have to talk to myself. I have to sit there. If it's praying, sit and pray. I pray. I have prayed. I pray. I sit here and I keep thinking about, I was having even difficulties with my marriage through this, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, then Cancer Bridges came into my life. It was so nice. I love you guys. Yes, I do, Wendy.
Oh, I agree with
but-
you.
But
Thank you,
those are the things that
Bridges. Thank you.
when you pray, you bring other things come into your life. When you become more connected to others or a higher power, and you ask for more clarity. Someone said earlier, meditation. You make choices that are consistent with your beliefs. Make choices that are consistent with your values. But it really is taking time out to understand that there's something bigger than you, and whatever this purpose is, how do you move forward in it?
It's like regrouping.
Yes, refocus, regroup, re-energize. That's what
That's
this is
right.
all about. You have to
Right.
refocus, regroup, re-energize. Everything we're doing is constantly, it's a cycle. And it's like you get into the cycle, you stay in the cycle, you stay in there, and you can come out. But sometimes you're just in that cycle a little longer, and then you start over again. But the whole thing is, if you look at this and you see that you have all these different energies, just know that sometimes, like, look, okay, be honest with yourself and everybody around you in on your team. And that's what I did. Like, look, physically, I can't do anything today. I might be able to talk with you, but I'm not getting out of this bed.
Yeah.
I can't get out of bed, but I want everyone to know that, hey, I can help you some way, somehow. Sometimes with work, I can get on the laptop. I can do some work that way. But you have to be able to be honest with yourself, taking an audit, realizing that there are different ways to sit there and increase these, but know what depletes you. Because when you know what depletes you, then you can sit there and avoid those things. Or if it does get to you, how do you get out of it?
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
when it comes down to the spiritual one, just to go back in there a little bit more, that one is the hardest one to me to pull back up.
What has helped me recharge myself is giving away a lot of my belongings, knowing that I can't keep what I have, and then I have to downsize, and
Right.
I need to give things away to people or to charities.
I like that one a lot. I was going to say scream and go buy it, but I like one of the things I do in my car was therapy at times, because I remember being at remind you, I coach tackle football, and I was at a pink out game, and everybody was around me is wearing pink. Now I didn't tell everybody, because I remember I needed cancer-free moments, and I wanted to be able to be at a football game on the sideline and just not dealing with everything. But then, of course, the entire world is like, guess what pink means, and these football players not even knowing what they're doing. But I ended up leaving the game that night, and I was in my car, and I screamed. I didn't understand why why did I have cancer? Why is it coming to me? What did I do? What did I say? What did I do? What did I eat? Was it in my lifetime? Is this passed on to me? So many different questions. I remember screaming, but that felt great. Just yelling and getting it all out. But then I got to a point and was like, wait a second, this is a new assignment. God was like, this is your assignment. You didn't understand anxiety. You didn't understand depression. You took life, you got all this stuff, get rid of it. Jerry, I feel you on that. I got rid of some stuff, but I also remember going to the store like, you know what? I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I will buy that. I'm buying it. I'm buying it. But sometimes you just got to go ahead and just make yourself happy. But at the end of the day, is I would love for you guys. I know it's after 7. I didn't go too much into my decide method. I kind of just skated past that pretty quickly. And I have no problem sending you like just like a little booklet that'll help you through that. But when I think about what I went through some of you, I understand we all have our own journey, but I did 8 months of chemo and surgery, and then I did multiple, I think it was like a month or 2 months of radiation. The best thing out of all of that is I learned how to put on fake eyelashes, and I love them. I am not going back. I love them. I love them. I love them. And you know, and I have multiple wigs. But the thing is, yeah, jokes aside, I think the biggest thing was being exhausted emotionally and mentally. Physically, I can handle that. Now the physical part being exhausted in my recovery process is frustrating.
Yes.
But mentally and mentally and emotionally, that's was the problem. So I asked you all to just realize that you're more than just movement. When I asked you at the beginning, what is energy? It's not just movement. You have more to offer, and you're not done yet.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Jerry. You're not done yet. You can do this. And remember that, hey, if I'm not there, if all else fails, go to my spiritual. All right. Just do whatever you do, whatever within your belief and your value system, do that. But just know that you have more to you. All right. And I hope something I said today helped you.
Yeah,
If it did not, feel free to write Wendy and tell her, why did you bring this woman on? But if it did, I do ask you to please let Wendy know, you know, and actually, you know what, help me out. If there's something that helped you today, something that you're going to take away today, I need you to share it with us right now, or verbally or in the comment, anything that you're going to take away with you today.